All right, now we got it sorted. Hello, everybody. Happy afternoon. This is Bram LeGroux here, and I'm pleased that you can join me in. I had a few technical hiccups, but we finally got it sorted. Today, I'm actually really excited. In fact, let me just take a step back. Yesterday, we had the Passion Turning Profit webinar, and in which I really disclosed the 8 best kept secrets in business development today. I think that's a lot of opportunities out there in the market. I can see it. I can, I can see it already working for me. And the question is it working for them? Is it working for you, right? Because ultimately in business, as a business owner, you probably started the business not just because you were very passionate about what you did, but you also wanted to make enough money so that you could do the things you want to do, have the things you want to have, and ultimately look after the people that you care for most. And if you could, let's say, monetize your passion and turn it into profit, of course, then you are really well on your way to make your mark. And yes, also as you're helping other people get also what you want. So look, in today's episodes, I basically now am super delighted to talk to you more about Business Development Accelerator. This week, we're open. We're open for business, and we're looking to help other people with an acceleration of their business results. And in today's live stream, I'm super pleased that we're going to have 2 guests joining us, 2 people that I have had the joy with working with over the last few years, and I have seen them really come from here all the way up to there. And I'm super happy to share this also with you. They're going to share their story, they're going to share their insights, their journey, and so on and so forth, and then of course also where they have gotten to. I won't say too much about it, but first of all, just imagine again, it's important in business that we have the right people surrounding us, right? It's also important that we have a clear vision in terms of where we're going. It's also important that we have clarity about our goals. And most importantly, if you have your goals that are pretty much over there, that you figure out, well, where I am today and where I want to get to at a certain time point, a time frame, is what I'm actually going to do all along the way. What are the steps that I'm going to take in order to get there faster? Because last thing you want to do is work harder. I see so many people think that working harder is the solution, but then there's always, of course, the question about, well, how can technology help you? How can you help, how can you put resources and systems in place that allow you to flex your muscle, that do the heavy lifting for you, and that allow you to really grow and scale? Automation, simplicity, working lean, working seamless, having a steady influx of new clients. These sort of things, they are not haphazard. They are by design. And so again, Business Development Accelerator, we have opened up the program again before we will be shutting it down at the end of the week. Actually on Friday is where we close, let's say, enrollments for it. We have already come quite far so far, and we got a little bit of room left, and I would love for you to also join me in there. But so let's talk about what is this? What does it all entail? How is it going to help you? Well, ultimately, it's going to help you work smarter. It's going to help you save time. It's going to help you avoid making costly mistakes. It's going to help you avoid leaving money on the table, because there's so much money left on the table, ladies and gentlemen, because people kind of really sabotage themselves, whether it's in their mind, whether it's in terms of how they believe, whether it's a shortage of skills and knowledge and know-how. All of this, again, the purpose of Business Development Accelerator is to address all of that. I'm going to also already reveal to you that it is actually a matter of 8 weeks of dedicated training and coaching as a success system, all wrapped up in one. That is Business Development Accelerator. So 18 weeks of dedicated training and coaching to facilitate and accelerate your success, your business results. So anyway, in just a moment, we should be having one of the guests join in. This is the first time I actually do a live stream with a guest popping in like this at the time that we have agreed. So I'm just going to check my messages just to see that everything is still good. And while you do, feel free, guys. We're going to stay in for a little while to grab yourself a coffee just like I did. All right, enjoy this one, little one here. And then we're going to have a conversation with somebody who I cannot wait to share their story with you. So let's see, it is now 12:09. Of course, at this live stream, at the point of, in this moment in time, of course, when you see this live stream a little bit later, that was going to be slightly different here. But look, guys, long story short, I have obviously been on the journey of business for now, what is it now? 6 years plus 17 years. Goodness, can you tell by the gray hairs on my head? So it has been a long journey. I have basically worked for 2 other businesses other than my own for a combined time of 6 years, selling basically high-end products, meaning you could easily find cheaper, but yeah, we really went for the top-end stuff, and that's what we sold. I've sold these things in 16 countries to date, and then of course I've been in my own business for now 11 years. It's been a long journey, and so we've learned a few things. We love helping other people with their journey, so that they can work smarter, not harder, so that they can actually accelerate their business results, which is what we're going to do here. And I can see that my first guest has arrived. Let me add him to the stream. And a big applause, ladies and gentlemen, for my good friend, Simon Derek Roberts. Good afternoon, Simon. How are you going?
I'm going great, Bram. How are you?
Doing fantastic, mate. So good to see you, and thank you for being on time.
You are most welcome. It's my first experience on this platform, so excuse the green screen without any sexy background backdrops.
That's all good, mate. Let me just see if I can somehow change my screen slightly. Is that going to be better? Actually, this is much nicer this way. Yeah, much better. Same here, mate. We're in the same boat. It's new
great.
for both of us. I actually like the green screen behind you. Makes it a bit more subtle and gentle.
Yeah, I don't know if it was one of your blogs or something I read elsewhere the other day. It was about, organized chaos, and that's kind of what you would see behind my green screen. But if we're creatives, we need the chaos. So it's how we thrive.
It's so true. Well, a very big, I do appreciate you coming in. I know that you're a super busy man. You're always in between meetings and networking functions and the likes, and presentations even, because you're more and more become a speaker as well. Look, Simon, this is a live cast. It's an interview type format, 10 to 15 minutes. And so I want to get people a bit up to speed with stories of people like them that might have been on a similar journey, and give people a bit of an insight, like where people started and where they have gotten to. You've obviously been a very loyal supporter of my business. You've been a great referrer, a client, and I also consider you a friend. And so I want to see you, I would like you to share a little bit, like, what's your story been? And particularly as you have worked with me over the years with Communication Mastery, Business Development Academy, you then did the second version of both of those programs. You brought other people along with you, your team, and so on. Give us a bit of a quick rundown in terms of where you started and where you've gotten to.
Sure. My background is in science at university level, and then IT. It's where I started my career. And I probably wasn't your typical IT guy. I had a customer service background. I'd worked in a video store, for people who remember that. So I could actually talk to people. And the persona, rightly or wrongly, is that most IT people can't talk to people, but I could. So that got me on a path of account management and then eventually sales, but I wasn't particularly good at it. So it was technical sales. There was a lot of technical juggling, all these things I look back on now, and it's like, oh my gosh, how did I make any sales back then? If only I was equipped with this knowledge. Yeah. And then when I used to present in public, I would feel like I was the Joker. I would have this grin that was so, it's like my mouth muscles locked up and I couldn't get this grin off my face, but I couldn't talk properly through this really weird grin, but I couldn't help myself. And then I got exposed to this guy who has been a big inspiration for some of your content as well, Oren Claff. Pitch Anything was his book. Pitch Mastery is his online program. And that just changed my way of thinking and communicating. And then I started working with you at a similar time, and you brought in the psychology elements as well, the human psychology. And I hadn't been through that. The sales training I'd been through prior to you was like your Brian Tracy stuff. It's good stuff, but it's based on process. It's based on work hard, make 100 calls and you'll get 4 appointments and 2 sales. So it was a pretty good methodology for how to do the grind. But I wasn't really up for the grind, being the organized chaos guy. And so your stuff really, now my cat's about to walk across screen. No, his tail stayed evident. One of the best things of working from home in the Zoom era is having pets. Yeah. So it's really interesting. I would say one-on-one, sometimes I'm still consciously competent. It's consciously incompetent through the work I do with people like yourself and other people aligned with you. Written communication. These days, I feel my written communication is excellent because I have the time to be mindful about what's going into that written communication, understanding that we don't have the body language and the tonality. These are some of the areas that you have helped me with to be more effective in my written communication. Yes, it means taking more time, so it's less efficient, but it is more effective, so it becomes more efficient. Structured presentations, as you alluded to, I now get paid from time to time to be on the stage coaching people in how to be more effective networkers outside of my own organization, where that's included as a membership benefit. But third parties, I've been paid by the government, by statutory bodies, etc., to teach their people how to network, how to build relationships. So being able to go in and hold a room, hold an audience and engage with them, that's been a big thing. But yes, I still catch myself often just in that more faster paced environment. I go in with a battle plan, but no plan survives first contact with the enemy, they say. And that's still an area where I but at least I can beat myself up and think about ways to improve. What am I going to do differently? What's one thing that I did well? So celebrate an achievement, and what's one thing that I could do differently and better next time? So you've created, I guess, a mindset and a methodology where it's about continuous improvement. But that's probably that one area in that one-on-one or small group interaction, I guess, where I have less control, even though I'm supposedly chaos guy. And you've given me all the tools. And actually, I must say that the most recent workshop I did with you, because we had that 8 weeks together going through each of the 8 modules in the online live learning to apply that, and we reviewed a module each week in that collaborative environment with all the other participants. I love this new format, and I highly recommend it. People that have done your courses before, consider revisiting the 2.0 versions of Business Development Academy, Communication Mastery, etc., because that peer-to-peer learning environment, that really lets you cement that learning where you're going from unconsciously competent to consciously incompetent towards unconscious competence through that check-in. And obviously we had that Facebook group where we checked in with each other during the week. So that's been super exciting. I feel that I've actually taken big leaps forward in the last couple of months as a big result of that training, and also doing that training with a couple of my colleagues. So if you're in a team environment, actually having your team there where you can compare notes and hold each other accountable as well during the week. We have a daily Zoom huddle, and then we check in with Sonia, and twice a week Emma, who was on the course, does some work with us, checks in. So that's been super, super valuable, this new methodology that you've rolled out within your own training and development structure.
Thank you. I much appreciate that. And look, we've always, of course, kept thinking, like, how can we help our people, like, really accelerate their business results? And I really love how you guys have just, like, gone, like, thank you so much for this learning environment, for the support network, for this execution bit, on the tail end of the training program. You guys have just run hard with it. I saw you guys keep posting stuff and trying things out, molding it, gathering feedback from us, being me, the trainer, as well as, the other people. And look, it's great to see that it's been working for you guys. So good on you. And great also that you brought your team along again for I don't know how many times, because we've done quite a few programs over the years.
It's the second time I brought a team member, yeah.
Correct. If I could just, revisit, the idea of communication mastery, because I think that's probably a program where you've many years ago in the first iteration, which was created in 2013. Since then, we've made a lot of changes. You touched already on some of them with the 8 weeks of execution on the tail end. Walk us through a little bit more how that has helped your business and your network. Just communication mastery in its own.
Yeah, look, I think probably and actually, funnily enough, the most recent execution on that because we did this just before Parafield Cluster, you'll remember it was October, November last year, and actually then having the follow-up with Business Development Academy a couple of months ago, that's where I really got to apply the learning. Even though it was all rolled out for me in November in the live workshop, it only sunk in when we did that drip feed. So what I do now is when I'm preparing, even for a phone call, I will jump. So if you're looking for a practical application, I will jump onto LinkedIn. And, this only works if they've written their own LinkedIn profile, which I'm sure 95% or more of people do write it themselves. I can gain some insight by just researching the way they communicate in writing, talking about themselves and their work history and their achievements on LinkedIn. It lets me better prepare for that phone call, to build rapport more quickly, to speak in their language, to speak at their pace and at a tone that is more comfortable for them. You can see, because I'm normally very fast paced. It will. One of the hacks, which I believe you gave me, is if they're a slower behavioral style, sit rather than stand. If they're a fast-paced person, stand. And so I'm actually getting better results already. I've helped actually facilitate a few new clients come on board. While I don't work with the client, or in our case, the clients are members, end to end throughout that journey, just that first or second touch point that they're having with me on the phone, never meet them, but I can see that I'm getting far better results. I've also started tracking this stuff. I didn't track it before. It was mentally tracked. It's tracked through a CRM, so I can actually see the results. In fact, I was shocked, Brahm, at how poor the conversion was before, and now it's getting better and better. And yeah, just very recently, we had a success story with a real estate agent, and I would have assumed the real estate agent would be fast paced, an I or a D for those familiar with this. Totally not. This person was definitely on the people side, but on the slow post, almost certainly an S. In fact, I went on her website as well as LinkedIn, and it felt like she'd had a lot of input into her own copy on her website. So I went at that call totally differently to how I would have gone through that call had I not done the preparation based on communication mastery. And she's recently come on board as a member. I think also her behavioral style is just the right thing for that group dynamic. She's going to fit in beautifully to that particular group. So yeah, there's a real recent win that's an ROI in my pocket that's basically paid for. In fact, it's probably more than paid for. I can't remember how much communication mastery was, but I reckon I got my ROI right there, just on that one recent example.
That's right. And I remember you also sharing a story of an accountant that you saw as a good fit. And again, thanks to your preparation before making the call, you had a very streamlined, smooth communication with her
Yep. She didn't end up getting the seat. I had two accountants go, that's the thing, supply and demand. We've got a model where we have that exclusivity. So it was her and another accountant I was courting at the same time. I did prep for both. He ended up being the one that, funnily enough, the fast-paced guy ended up getting in fast and getting the opportunity. But absolutely, it was. I actually approached those two calls differently because, again, an accountant, I wouldn't have been expecting a fast-paced guy. And, surprise, surprise, this guy's grown his firm quite rapidly to be 7 people, and he's less on the tools than himself. Wow. But that's probably because he's not passionate about the technical side, because he is a fast-paced guy. But again, I was able to better get into rapport. I mean, that was a more natural connection with my style anyway. But yeah, the other person will be available should something else come up that will be more suited for her because of that initial rapport building. Yes.
So I love how you actually touched on rapport building, Simon, because the reason why it's important that we kind of touch on it and share it with others is that we sometimes really forget about the 7-second rule, right? And so if we are calling up on a stranger or we're meeting somebody in a room, if we haven't really gauged what their style is, we cannot wait for too long to ascertain it, which is why this preparation is so crucial, right? We can very easily build the wrong impression in the first 7 seconds if we're not prepared. So you taking time to go on LinkedIn, researching their profile, and then make the call, how much time does it take you, and how much does it help you to increase your strike rate?
It's probably, I haven't quantified it, but my gut is it's 5 minutes or less. Definitely under 10 minutes. It'll depend on the person, how lengthy it is. Normally, I don't need to read the entire bio and everything to get a feel for, okay, they're almost certainly this one predominantly, or these two predominantly, etc. So it's not a huge impact. Look, it's only been recently applied. Okay, so I don't have huge amounts of data. And based on this initial data set, and the other account, he's not in yet, but he's applied. He transferred his fees the other day. He'll be a good fit. I'm pretty confident he'll be onboarded within the next week or so. So I'm getting results. I'm getting ROI. I'm getting traction. it was very, very hit and miss before it was scattergun. And, you know, surprise, surprise, it was more like the 25%, which are the people that I was just naturally, because of how I would normally come across. And it's not about being inauthentic either. You know, authenticity is one of our core values of our team. It's just about being smart and being adaptable and recognizing that we can still be authentic, but we can modify our own outward behavioral style to better suit, match, and pace. And I don't know if you saw Oren Claff's video in the last few days. He's all about rapport building based on conversations about the weather and all this small talk. That's not how you build rapport. This is the stuff that lets you build rapport. It's actually also respectful, I guess, to the other person. That's also what he talked about. Sometimes people are asking questions that they could easily get by jumping on LinkedIn or reading someone's website, and they're wasting the person's time. So show respect by spending a little bit of time researching not just the company, which is more what he was talking about, but researching the human being behind that company, the person you're going to be speaking with on the phone or having a Zoom or coffee with. That's
exactly right. Because really, ultimately, it's about working smarter and helping people. I think a lot of the times when people think of sales and business development, they think that it's a dirty word. And that is a dirty word, probably, if the way that we go about it is for the wrong reasons, that we're looking after our own best interests in front of the clients. But obviously, if we do it the other way around, and we're looking to we're really sincerely caring for the client to get the outcome they want, and we go above and beyond, well, then of course, sales becomes a noble profession, right? And I really love it how people really kind of, you know, go in for the right reasons, but they also look at, like, how can I work smarter? How can I kind of reshuffle the cards? And rather than, you know, compare to all the other people that say, hey, here's the one process, here's the one way, here's the silver bullet on how to do it. Guess what? There's different ways for different people, different strokes for different folks. And so it's important that we really give people the treatment that they're wanting. So that's really what communication mastery helps us do, right? And you guys have done that exceptionally well. I'm really, really enthused about it. If we could kind of revisit just briefly before the next guest is going to come in about 4 minutes. If you could kind of really revisit, like, you know, in a nutshell, you know, we now open up this week Business Development Accelerator, which is 18 weeks of dedicated training and coaching, starting with communication mastery and a lot of extra tools, then going into Business Development Academy number 2. And that is really an 18-week journey, starting pretty much as of next week. If you could, let's say, give people a bit of an idea, like why going on a journey like that would help them to fast track their results, please share. But why would they do it?
Okay, so one of the things with communication mastery is so looking at communication mastery first, that makes sense to me. And it just so happens that's the order I did it by chance. It wasn't an 18-week program then, because in addition to our client relationships, we have relationships with service partners or referral partners, you know, people that aren't our clients but refer us to our clients. We have relationships with our staff or business partners. And so being able to better communicate in all aspects of your professional world, and, you know, if you're up for the challenge in your personal world as well, is going to make you more efficient and effective. I wouldn't have done, and then let's go to the other end, the Business Development Academy, where we learn the practical sales application side. I would have made that 5 to 8 minute investment researching people on LinkedIn before. I would just go pure, just jump on the call. You know, it's my way or the highway, not interested in the outcome they want, not interested in it's the outcome I wanted, not the one they wanted. It was about steering them into my outcome. It was about communicating them in my way. And so, I wouldn't do any prep, but I'd only convert, 25%. Whereas now it's shaping up, again, I need long-term figures, but it's shaping up 75% or higher. So it's an easily worth that small investment of time. What I like about what I'm hearing, I don't know any of the details, but it does make sense to me that that's the natural journey. Start with communication mastery so you can communicate better in all aspects, and then reinforce that learning and apply it into that sales and prospecting environment with Business Development Academy. And I'm not exactly sure what's going on between, but it sounds like there's weekly coaching, which I've already validated at the start how valuable that was in terms of, I think you used the word execution. That's really where you get to execute, because there's so many courses I've done over the years, And especially if we're taking a day or two out of our busy work environment, as soon as the next day, we're straight back into it because we're to catch up on the day or two that we took off the tools to invest in our business. We don't get any time, whereas it provides an accountability framework with your peers and with yourself as like the group facilitator coach to make sure we're actually actively applying the learning. And then that's how we actually get the results. So it sounds very exciting that you've actually wrapped it up into a more structured 18-week package, which, yeah, I think you're on a winner there. And I'm not exactly sure how you've bundled the pricing, but I've paid for these things individually. And again, you can very, very rapidly see the ROI. You're often getting, I wouldn't be surprised if people are getting results within the 8 weeks. For example, we know Chad and Chris were getting results within, that was a small group that we did it last time, but we were all actually getting results and celebrating wins within that 8 weeks that we did the weekly follow-ups. And we were all celebrating those results and attributing at least one element that we brought to the table from the course that we believe was the point of difference that got that deal over the line and won us that business. So, the ROI will be I'm very confident if you apply the tools and the learnings, you'll make your ROI very quickly.
That's it. And, I appreciate you generously sharing your experience with that. And it's so true. It's about accountability. And once again, I think we asked ourselves here in our office, like, how is it that, some people are more successful than others when they do a training program? And it's because they apply what they've learned. And you also alluded to it earlier, it took you a few times to actually start applying it. And especially when you had that, that structured training and coaching program after the training, it really helped you to really implement it fast and get ROI quickly. And so we definitely learned that lesson very early on. And so we now make it standard. So we have stopped doing 1-day training programs, 2-day training programs. Right now, it is full-blown training and coaching over a longer period of time to accelerate business results, which is why the bundle now is called Business Development Accelerator for obvious reasons. I'm really excited about going on this journey and always appreciate you guys commenting. By the way, you mentioned Chris earlier. He's actually on the live Zoom with us. So hello, Chris. Good that you're joining in again. This guy is, let's say, all the time with us. Like last night, even up until 9:30 p.m., he was still on the call with me as well in Passion Turning Profit. So it's great to guys see you always rock up and, put in the time to keep whetting the swords, being of better service to your clients, and become a more trusted advisor to your clients. That's really what it's all about. Like the better we get, the better our businesses get. And so Simon, look, I really appreciate your time. Always love hearing from you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with others. Is there one final thing that you would like to just add that you feel would actually be of benefit to the viewers?
On the spot now I'm under pressure. Look, you said it earlier, I didn't say it succinctly. The biggest, if I could encapsulate it in one sentence, where you get the best results, where you'll see the biggest impact, if you're not already doing this, learning how to treat others the way they want to be treated rather than the way you want to be treated, because we've been taught that golden rule all our lives, and which is totally wrong. And that's why most of us only get 25 to 50% of the results that we think we should be getting. So that mantra, being very mindful of that, will have a significant impact, and you should expect a 25 to 50% bump in your results if you can apply that on a consistent basis. Treat people how they want to be treated, not how you want to be treated. And if you want to learn how to do that, you've got to go into I'm not getting paid any commissions. I didn't even know about this new bundle. The Business Accelerator, Business Development Accelerator. That would be a great opportunity for you to build those habits so it becomes part of your DNA.
Fantastic. Hey, thank you for sharing this again here. And always a pleasure working with you and your team, Simon. I also want to welcome back Sanya, who also was on last night's call up until very late. Look, already back on deck. Welcome here to this program, Simon. We're going to let you go. Obviously, we'll be in touch again. All the best of success, and have a great rest of the week ahead.
Thank you, Bram, and hi, Sanya. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Sanya, thank you so much for joining in. Beautifully on time. Thank you. It's great to see you. How are you?
Good, very good. It's nice to see you back to back last night and now.
Yeah. So true. And this time with a different background. I'll see that you're also back in your office now, not in the living room or something. Yeah.
Yes, that's right, back in the office, yes.
Very good. How's the day starting off after a long night?
Good. So we've been taking on a couple of extra interns in our business. So I interviewed them this morning. I've got a couple of people in the boardroom. I just met a script writer who I want to work with in my business. First time to collaborate with someone who can actually write the presentations and the holding statements for us. That'll be a great value add. So that was fantastic. And preparing for a big pitch to Business SA tomorrow. So very exciting.
Very nice. Great stuff. All right. Well, with the great opportunities surrounding you and you, let's say, taking them by the horns, right? It's wonderful. And look, we wanted to get people up to speed a little bit and give them some insights in real life examples. People like them that live and breathe, that have a business, that have had their highs and their lows, and that had to look for ways to actually be smarter, to invest in their business, to get better themselves, to accelerate their business results. And I want to kind of, you and I have been on the journey for quite a while. We've been working together in the same networking group. We've been you've done a few programs of mine as a student. You've helped me out as one of my team for some of my events, large and small. And so I wanted to kind of revisit your experience, really. Like, kind of, if you go back to the start where we first met and the journey that we've been on, I'd love for you to share a little bit with people, like what you'd like to share.
Sure, no worries. So having met Brahm while networking, a couple of things stood out was that he just connects really well. And that's something I wanted to learn, was the genuine deep connection to build with people where the networks really become valuable and net worth. And so I found myself following Brahm online, following all of his stuff, all of his workshops. And as a result, I did the Business Development Academy workshop, which was fantastic. And the biggest thing I took from that was avatars. That was huge for me. Customer segmentation wasn't news really, but to actually have some meat on the bones and have some practical approach there, give it a name and an activity that actually forced me to write it on the day was actually really good. So I, to this day, use avatars and I filter everything I do now through like an avatar method. So that was really, really useful after that session with Business Development Academy. Then after that, any of the live events, I was able to help behind the scenes, event support, which I'd hope to do forever. So I'd love to be able to just support behind the scenes and keep working with Brahm because it actually has benefited my business, which is fantastic.
Wonderful. Talking about business, maybe quickly tell people what you do and how your work with Communication Mastery and Business Development Academy, how that had actually helped you in your business.
Fantastic. So I am a public speaking coach. I help people to craft and deliver their TED Talk, keynote, or media call so that they can present with confidence and conquer the fear of the stage. And that was in itself quite, it comes second nature to me to coach what I do, but to have a bit of strategy around that was news. So although I am a corporate coach by trade, I found that the psychology of selling wasn't something that I was even remotely comfortable with. And so that was a good learning curve. That out of Business Development Academy, I got my avatars, and out of the Communication Mastery, I got my understanding of the application of DISC profiling clients before I approach them and sell to them. And it was that in itself, out of those two workshops, having those two takeaways changes everything for us.
Wow. And that's so wonderful. We've always kept in check with each other and see like what you were doing and how it was helping. And, I know all this, but if you could kind of, let's say, give people an idea, like, you invest, a few days in the training and coaching. How does it actually translate back into business results? Could you please expand a little bit on that? Like for example, what sort of deals would you not have closed, but you did because of the differences you made? Like what sort of ROI are we looking at for you?
Well, prior to actually thinking of my approach to avatars, prior to actually identifying the avatars for my business, I was strictly in the lane of team training. And all I did was teams. I didn't work with individuals, and it wasn't curated or premium content. It was just team communication skills, And I thought of them as industry segments, and the only avatars I was really pitching to was industries. Now that I have, and I'm happy to share, now that I have managers, in-betweeners, defenders, and thought leaders as my 4 avatars, it means that I'm approaching them with unique prospects and unique projects. My proposals have changed. Now I'm offering them something different. Having approached it that way, it actually opened a whole new suite of workshops that I was never offering before. Not that I wasn't capable of them, I wasn't aware that that was the need of that avatar. So when I looked deeply at that, then I was able to offer something that it's almost like the penny dropped. I'm going, yes, I offer that. How have I not thought of languaging it in a way that makes sense for this particular person to buy? As a result, we're now political media advisors in Canberra with ambassadors. There's no way in hell I ever would have thought of that back in the day. Keeping in mind my background is a ballerina. Who would have thought that a ballerina would be engaged to do political advice? But it was the curated process of figuring out the avatars and the unique value that I offer them. And that's where it made a difference. It pivoted for us. I know that word is overused lately, but it pivoted that approach for us where we're now offering services we've never offered in the past. As a result, we've probably, by now, 2021, I've probably got to look at the numbers, but it's at least doubled our income from starting to engage with you.
Wow. Well done. Well done. And of course, as a result, you're expanding the team, which big applause. Very happy to hear.
Thank you.
I know that you're also delivering now the services that not only you're capable of, but actually also inspire you. You know, they light up your day, so to speak, right? And you do more of them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Where initially the team training was fun and it was interactive and it was good money, the opportunity that I have now working with people of high caliber who wouldn't usually need someone like me, to now be able to engage with them and show them that they need some assisted work, it's resulted in some really exciting times. For example, my best story is that I wouldn't have thought to work with PhD candidates. Most of them are lecturers as well. And so they speak for a living, they're accustomed to the stage. And if anything, they are a thought leader in their content, ridiculously smart people. And for one of them, I coached him for a 3-minute thesis, which he had to present on a stage, his entire life's work in 3 minutes. We turned it into a story. He pitched. He won the Asia Pacific Finals. As a result of winning the Asia Pacific Finals, his research is now funded. He brought millions of dollars into the state, and that's the reason we now have a space agency in Adelaide. That was like a catalyst for me. I'm going, I worked with one person, helped him present his science research and his space research in such a way that was a story about a dragonfly. That's a story for another time. And that one story resulted in winning funding, bringing it into the state, and we now have a space agency. That was cool.
Wow. And congratulations. While you were saying it, I had on 2 occasions, I felt, the goosebumps. I'm so inspired by this story. And you've got countless stories like it. I know also that you've done very well with the Submarine Corporation in teaching engineers on how to speak in front of audiences and how to inspire people rather than being dry, in their information delivery. So, hey, well done. I couldn't be happier for you. I also want to give a quick shout out to Gabriel Vitor, who's joining us in Brazil. Hello. I have no idea what time it is in Brazil. It must be quite late, but very pleased to have you here with us as well. And of course, Chris, who's with us as well. Look, if I could just kind of ask you, Sonia, obviously communication is what you do anyway, right? You teach people how to speak, whether on camera or to an audience. How would you say that just the way that I have taught you how to use DISC, how would you say that it helped your marketing and your conversions when you put out proposals?
Yes, that was part of what I don't do. I don't understand the psychology side of selling, which was the one thing that you really need to do is communicate to the person, speak in the language that actually connects with their true self, their heart. And that's where you get genuine connection from. So the psychology aspect of that was news to me. I hadn't thought of it that way before. And so as a result, I've now been almost stalking and psychoanalyzing everyone I speak to. I've been researching, how do they communicate online? How do they respond to things? How have they communicated with me and text, email, phone calls? And it has changed the way that I respond to them. It also means that I offer them meetings in a different way. So rather than detailed proposals attached as a PDF, it's, for certain people, it's a glass of wine in a bar and talking face to face with a proposal, because I know that time dedicated to them is exactly what will actually make the difference. And that's something that it's interesting. You don't have to actually be a psychologist to take action on these things. My assumption was, I don't know how to analyze people, but it's a lot easier than I thought. And that's what made the difference.
Beautiful. And that's why we obviously have these frameworks. So yes, it took me 7 years to graduate with a master's in psychology, but I understand that people don't have time, 7 years, to learn how to do it. So you just bring it back to simplistic things that you can easily apply. And as you apply, you can start seeing the difference, right? You can measure, like Simon mentioned countless times how he measures things. You've said already that you easily doubled your effectiveness rate and grew your business as a result. And it was just about working smarter, putting right things in place, reading people, giving them what they want. And then, of course, as a result, it's easier to satisfy them. They feel comfortable, and then they come on board with your offering, correct?
Yeah, correct. And I had to get over something that was intrinsically within my own self, and it was my own self-sabotaging or limiting belief, was that I'm manipulating people if I kind of psychoanalyze them and then respond in a certain way. That was something I had to deal with. And I realized it's not manipulating people, because there are definitely salespeople out there that do manipulate people, and that's unethical selling. But what I had to get to a point of understanding was, it's not about manipulating people. It's about making it easy for them to understand. If they are more likely to engage with you because you've made it easy, if they're more likely to listen because you communicated it in their language. And speaking of language, that came to mind to me as well. Imagine if someone came to me and tried to sell to me in Chinese. And I'm like, I don't speak your language. I don't understand how I'm going to buy from this. But if they spoke in my actual mother tongue, then I'm more likely to buy.
That's it. And that's a great analogy, but basically that is really the case. Even though we might all speak English, and I'm still trying as a migrant myself here, but even though we might think we get it because we all speak English, what you're saying really is that there's sub-languages within the language. And unless you understand them and can relate to those languages, you might actually leave a lot of money on the table. You might not be able to service someone. You might not be able to make them feel comfortable. And what you said is also, if they don't see what you're presenting is of value to them, they don't get it. If they don't understand it, well, what are we doing? We're just wasting time and spinning our wheels, right? I think that happens too often. People leave a lot of money on the table just by keep treating people the way that they personally want to be treated, which we all got taught, even me in Belgium, but it doesn't work. We talk about statistics. Some people on this call might actually like the statistics. Most countries, you might say that every for the different 4 styles and languages that we talk about as DISC, DI and S and C, is that about 25% of the population in your country will be in that boat, you included, which means if you are in one of those 25%, it means that you can't speak the language of 75% of the other people in your country. And so there's a lot more to it. And it's even going to industries and even job roles. And so if you're targeting, for example, with your service offering, a business, let's say a business executive or even an accountant or an engineer, the correlation of that job style has a high correlation with a certain style on the disc. And so again, as Sanya, you said it beautifully, you now know how to take your offering and communicate it in a language that they understand and that speaks to their values. And that is important. As long as we can do this hand on our heart, then it's good. Sorry.
No, and that's true. And that our style isn't necessarily the same as someone else's doesn't mean they won't engage with you. So it's not just that because I'm an I, everyone that I work with is going to be an I. It's just that you're delivering something to them that makes sense to them. Another way that made sense to me is a really familiar metric for most people was the 5 love languages, which relates to their personal relationships and friendships and things like that, where you can actually measure how you communicate care to people from yourself, but more accurately, how they receive care might be different. And so you'll change the way you approach to suit how they best receive that care that you want to give. And I was very familiar with that. So I'm thinking, okay, 5 love languages, it makes sense in relationships. Why are we not showing that care the way they want to receive it in business?
Bingo, straight on. I love that book as well. It taught me also a lot, and it's the same idea. Yes, you figure out what it is that the other person wants, because if you then give it to them, it's much easier for them to feel comfortable, for them to understand what you're telling them, and for them to actually want it. And so, as long as it's done with the right intentions, you're always having their best interest at heart. Business and sales are very easy, right? And I think again, people try to work too hard while they can just work smarter by giving people the right treatment. And so you've done that. You've been, of course, very eloquent in communicating how this all has helped you. If there's one last thing that you'd like to share with people, that are considering potentially joining Business Development Accelerator, which is now the bundle, which is starting off with Communication Mastery 2.0, then 8 weeks of coaching and some really full-on application of it all. Then coming back for Business Development Academy 2 with, again, 8 weeks of coaching. Ask me anything along the journey. All the tools that we talked about, all the AI software, the meeting magic prep sheets, a lot of extra tools to really help people accelerate business results. Please, if there's anything that you'd like to add to people that are considering it, what would you say, having gone through it all yourself as well?
Sure. Well, there's a lot of conferences and events out there that are really practical, and that's fine, but they don't actually take action at the event, and that's the missing part. You'll go to a function that talks about something like understanding your client and this disc profiling. I've actually been to conferences where they've discussed disc profiling, but it was in theory. It was just discussed, and you're like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. But the difference with what I've seen your approach is that it's super practical. Like, I actually designed my avatars. I even named them on the day of the event. And from that event, which is years ago now, to this day, they haven't changed name. It was done, it was on paper, and now I've memorized them and it's changed the way I approach. It wasn't something that I had to find time in my schedule to do. I've carved that time out for professional development, and it's actually taking action there. So that was a big part of the process. It wasn't just inspiration, it was action. And that's the difference compared to most professional development. That's really cool ideas that we hardly ever take on board. I walked out of these events with things written down, templates ready to go that I could make a phone call the next day and start quoting.
Wonderful. Hey, you've done so well. It's always a pleasure, Sanya. You're a great inspiration. I love the stories you shared with us today. And look, I know that you got plenty of other things to do. You got also a team apparently that will need some further inducting to go back to. So thank you for joining in today. I wish you a wonderful day ahead, and I'm sure that we'll be in touch again soon.
Absolutely. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Sanya. Cheers. All right, guys. Well, look, I can see that there's a little bit of challenges with some of the stability of the connection here. So apology if the Wi-Fi hasn't been working that well and it might be cutting off here and there. I'll take that on board for the next session, which is going to be tomorrow. Same time, I'll be back here with another few guests of mine to walk through a couple of ideas and things that might be of benefit to you. Now, just kind of wrapping up for the day. As I said earlier, we have now opened up Business Development Accelerator this week. It's going to end on Friday at 11:55 p.m. ACST. That is Adelaide time. So in the evening, we're going to actually be closing the doors. We're going to be straight away focusing on our new members coming in and really making sure that they get a head start before anyone else. Because right now, times are such that there's boundless, limitless opportunities for a business, but you have to be equipped for it. You have to be ready for it. You have to surround yourself with the right tools, the right people, the right thinking, the right strategies, the right systems, the right guidance. Have somebody to pick you up and cheer you up when you're having a bit of a tough time. Help you with the application so that it's just not knowledge and information stuck in your brain. You want to be able to action it so that it helps you to save time, to have a better impact, a bigger strike rate, so that you can help more people, make more money, scale up your business, have more free time, have more freedom, and of course, have less stress. That is the whole purpose why we've created Business Development Accelerators for business owners that are looking for those type of outcomes. So I'm going to share in a moment a link where you will be able to find out more about Business Development Accelerator. I also want you to give you an incentive as you are looking for some guidance as a coach to help you over the next few weeks and months to accelerate your business results. I will incentivize you today. Today, I'm talking about this Tuesday in Australia. It's still probably Monday in some parts of the world, being in America and the likes. But specifically today, in a few hours' time, let me see, we got about 11 hours left before we are closing the early bird. And the early bird, let's talk about this one. The early bird is a bonus that in itself is the same amount of investment that Business Development Accelerator will be that Business Development Accelerator represents. So we basically are adding an entire bonus program for those people that are taking action today before 11:55 p.m. ACST. What is involved in that? How is it going to help you? Why should you even care about this bonus? Well, imagine now that you have, let's say, you've gone through 18 weeks of training and coaching to accelerate your business results with me. So by that time, it's end of August. Now you've really come, like Simon and Sonia already shared with you, you are actually you're getting results while you're doing the training and coaching with me. It's designed for that purpose. How is this now going to happen? Well, as of 1st of September, we're starting Digital Business Development Formula. Now imagine now that you have a lot of people that you could inspire with your know-how, your information, your strategies, your insights, your, whatever you have, everything that you basically can educate them on. And you could look for ways to accelerate your business results by creating passive income online. I'm going to walk you through, as of 1st of September, as the bonus program, how you create the systems so that you can break away from trading time for money as a services provider, productize your services, and actually build it online in a way that people can buy it so that you create passive income online. That is what we're going to do in Digital Business Development Formula. That program in itself is worth several thousands of dollars, and I'm going to give it to those people who are pretty much coming on board with Business Development Accelerator before midnight in South Australia. So that is one way for me to incentivize you. Some people call it bribing you in an ethical way. The reason that I view it, or the way that I look at it, is simple. My job is to be a resource to you and to help you accelerate your business results so that you can have also a better life outside of your business. Because I see so many people working far too long in a business, 60, 50, 70, 80, 100 hours, and that time takes away from themselves, that time takes away from their families, and it really burns people out, and it ruins their health. That is not what you want. That's not why people go and start a business in the first place. You created, you wanted to get freedom, you wanted to have more time to enjoy life, you wanted to have more money so that you can do the things and have the things that you want, and that you can look after the people that you care about most. And of course, if you can then also, make a difference in other people's lives while you're, monetizing your passion and turning it into profit, well, then everybody wins. And that is really what I am really passionate about doing, helping people, other services providers who, like me, I've had my highs and my lows. I've learned by trial and error. And I left a lot of money on the table for a long time until I finally figured out how to do things differently, smarter, and better so that it's more effective and impactful. And so I would love to share that all with you. But of course, it's about people that take action. Ultimately, it needs to be fair exchange. As I'm giving you a lot of stuff that will help you, of course, it's good if we can reciprocate. So that's why there's only so much I can do in terms of, things like this, like live streams. Ultimately, then there's a certain call of action where I say, guys, if you really want to accelerate your business results, now is the time to take action and join the program. So Business Development Accelerator, I'm going to post it now here for you. Check out Business Development Accelerator. You see that it's all live here, Accelerator, and redeem your bonus before midnight. There we go. I think that should come up. Hope it will come. So this is the early bird. It doesn't mean that when you pass the early bird that you can still join Business Development Accelerator, but it just means that in order to get the extra bonus there's a lot of bonuses anyway there, but the $4,997 bonus program that starts off 1st of September to help you automate your income online as a services provider. That is basically what I'm giving you as an extra to really say, guys, I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you, and I'm here to accelerate your business results. So if you want to work smarter, you want to have more free time to enjoy life, you want to have more money, you want to have more freedom, and you want to have less stress, seriously, guys, at least have a look at the program. If you have any questions, there's a place where you can just ask us questions about it. But at midnight tonight in South Australia, we're basically, taking the bonus away, as in the early bird. And then it's just all the other bonuses that will be left behind. So I want to incentivize you and encourage you and invite you warmly, join the program. I think we've got a few spots left because we're starting basically the first 18 weeks of training and coaching as of next week, Monday. That's when we start scheduling one-on-one calls for sales strategies and the likes. Yeah, the people are going to go through their DISC assessments. We're going to have a debrief on what that all means to them. And we're also going to equip them then with the first introductory course to build a strong foundation for business results. That is all starting next week. So it is time, guys, to come on board this week. Anyway, I appreciate you guys joining. If there's any further questions, just let us know on the website. You'll see that there's at the bottom a link, let's say an email address where you can shoot an email to. But always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining. Wish you a great day ahead, and I would love to see you in Business Development Accelerator. Have a wonderful one. Cheers. Bye-bye.